If there's one thing we've learned about business and life, it's that people are the X factor. They constantly surprise us, both in amazing ways and not so much. We're Ben and Syya, and welcome to the Gnaw on This Business Bites podcast. This show is all about real life things we all deal with every day, how they relate to business, and how to make some sense out of our daily chaos. Welcome to the show. And welcome back to another episode of Gnaw on This Business Bites. I'm Ben, and this is Syya. And this week, I want to talk about the mirror effect. It's how to have better self-reflection for better leadership. Let's redo that because that sounded really sucky. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Gnaw on This Business Bites. I'm Ben, and this is Syya. This week, I want to talk about the mirror test, self-reflection for better leadership. Yeah, we all need to look in the mirror. We all need to sit there and say, okay, who am I really? What's really important and what's not? Am I, all that in a bag of chips like I think I am? Or am I just have this delusion of grandeur that everybody else sits there and goes, yeah, okay, we'll listen to them because they have a title, but am I going to respect them? No. Am I going to trust them? No. And if a better job comes up, yeah, I'm going to take it. There are so many leaders out there that are all about them. They have not been given the tools in the bank. They micromanage. They're part of the Peter principle, and they don't take the time to sit there and say, you know what? I need to sit there and look at the mirror and say, what's really important? So, Syya, let's know on this.
I'm looking at the man in the mirror. You know, it's funny. I think I've sang that song 15,000 times because so much of everything that we talk about really is that self-reflection kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I can't help it. I'm massively distracted. So I guess, sir, it's so much, everything that we talk about is so much easier said than done. And, and, and I feel like, we all talk a great game.
Mm-hmm.
We all convince ourselves that we are inherently doing the right thing. And then yet, so much of our life today is binary. It's so black and it's so white. So it feels like to me this conversation is not so much, the mirror and the reflection. It's almost like, is it a magic mirror that you live by of echo chamber reflection, or is there a real truth serum mirror that's going to tell you the truth? And I think that's where we get tripped up so much, is that we look at a mirror of self-reflection because it's like a validating that we are
Absolutely.
amazing and validating that we know what the heck we're doing. So we never feel like we are the definition of the Peter principle. And at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you are the definition of the Peter principle because you don't know how you rise to the level of incompetence. So yeah, this is something that I really want. I just think this is a great opportunity for us to really explore. Is our mirror really a reflection, or is it the, filter reflection that keeps validating our false narrative?
Well, I keep coming back to a few good men, and you can't handle the truth. So we send if we have this inability to look at things beyond our own bias, if we
Hmm.
have this delusion of grandeur and this belief that we are always right and everything that we say is correct and everything that we do is right, and we never take the time to actually sit there and go, wait a second here, I could be wrong, then we tend to surround ourselves with people that echo that. We tend to put the people around us in areas of influence and areas of position that can just tell us how wonderful we are. Whether they're saying, "Oh my God, you're amazing," or else they just agree with you. And they sit there and they don't sit there and say, "Really? Have you given this a second thought about that? Really, should we really be doing this? Is that really part of what our mission, vision, and values? Should we be spending money budget on that?" And a lot of people, and I'm not saying everybody, and I'm not saying everybody that does is this evil, horrible person, but I'm saying there's a lot of us that surround ourselves with people that, for lack of a better term, are yes men and women because either they're afraid to tell truth to power, they don't have the ability to articulate truth to power, or they are just so bought into the bias of the actual person that is in leadership that to even question them is outside of their own level of sophistication or their own level of comfort. So we need to sit back and sit there and say, okay, what are we truly trying to achieve? Do we just want yes people around us? Do we want to constantly believe our own press clippings to say how wonderful we are? Or do we realize we're fallible human beings, each and every single one of us, with my hand raised here, saying that I'm part of it and saying that, you know what, I could be wrong. And maybe I should sit there and look at this thing and look at it from a wide variety of different angles and ask a bunch of people with contrary opinions of what it is and gather all of those opinions. And in the end, you're going to make a decision. If you are the leader in the end, it's your job to make a decision and stand by it. But at least you've taken the time to look at various points of view and realize that, you know what, just because your view is the one that you have doesn't mean it's the view that everyone has.
Oh man, alive. It sucked because, when you're drinking the Kool-Aid,
Hmm.
it's so easy to believe what we're doing is the right thing. It's so easy to believe that what we're doing is the natural, like it makes sense thing to do. And it compounds when it's a larger mission goal, right?
Yes.
It compounds when it now is interdepartmental teams. It compounds when it's now including upper level executive endorsement, you know, for something that, may just be a choo-choo train going to nowhere, right? You're choo-choo training right into a brick wall. And sometimes man, it's tough because there's some choo-choo decisions that is just out of your control, right? That you just know it's a
Absolutely.
choo-choo cho, a choo-choo choo-choo cho. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I think if you know that you're on a choo-choo choo-choo cho, uh, when would be the right time? Do you speak up? Is it a battle that you should try to fight, or is it a war that's gone on and you're just a soldier just fighting the good cause because that's your job? That's your
Well,
job, right? Like, so you got me really thinking in all these analogies, but let's, you're a foot soldier.
yes.
Is it really your place to decide if that choo 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 battle is the right direction or not, right? But your job is to execute. So is it a failure of your job, or is it a failure of you that you're executing on your job as you are instructed to do, as you're paid to do, and the expectation is to deliver? Is it your fault that the strategies choo choo show? You know what I mean? And I think there's time and place for that. And you're making me really think about this because there's only so much we can affect, and that would be
Yes.
our immediate desk area, if you want to call it that, right? And
Hmm.
if you know the choo choo train, choo choo show, aka strategy is a choo 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 show, then if you really hate it, then leave. But if you're there and it's okay, then you stay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like, like that reflection mirror is what you can control too. But like focus on what you can control on that mirror, right? Like anyway, kind of going back to that analogy. But
And the question is, do you control it? Because at most levels, you have a boss.
yes.
And at most levels, you're at the whim of somebody else's decision, whether you like it or not. And you can only fight against an idea, a concept, a culture, whatever, for so long. You can only suggest so many times contrary opinions before you get a bad reputation, before you're sidelined, before you're marginalized, before you're seen as the problem child.
Yeah.
And you get to a point where you just say, is it worth me sticking my neck up? Because every single time I do, I can feel the sharp edge of the blade against it.
Hmm.
So you have to take a look at that way, but you have to sit there and say, we are all leaders in our own right.
Right.
We at our own level, we are all leaders. And I think you're right. There has to be a time where you sit there and say, okay, this is a battle worth fighting. This is a battle we're fighting. I believe in this. This is wrong. This is going to cost the company $100 million. This is going to cost, reputation. It's going to cost us customers. It's going to cost us this, and be able to, to look back and say something.
Hmm.
The question is, when is it time to, to hold them, and when is it time to fold them?
Yeah.
But what you need to do is sit there yourself and have that ethical, moral point of view of sit there and say, wait a second, am I fighting this because I don't like the other person and I want to win it because I want them to lose? Or am I fighting this because it's in the best case for everybody? And so we all need to sit there and say, what's our agenda? What's our purpose? What's our raison d'etre to be, for doing this? And that's what I'm talking about, looking in the mirror. Like, if we're going to stand up, or we're going to stand for or stand against something, the question is, why are we doing this? And are we taking the time to sit there and say, I'm doing this because you need to be wrong and I need to be right? Or am I doing this because I think that other points of view need to be, looked at and discussed and articulated in order for us to go forward as a better and create a better solution. So these are challenging things, and there is no right answer. There
No.
is no right answer, because it depends on the person, it depends on the psychology, it depends on the relationships, it depends on where you are in your professional journey.
Yep.
It depends on your status within the organization. It depends on how well you're trusted within the organization, how well you're respected in the organization. All of these things come into play. And we need to be able to look at this and look at the mirror and say, okay, is this a fight worth, suiting up for? Okay, great. Suit up, grab the sword, let's go. But we also need to know, okay, I fought the good fight. I lost. All right, what do I do now?
Gotta tell you, man, real quick, let me ask you this, because I love that question of like, are we fighting the good fight? I mean, because the odds are high you're probably unsuccessful, especially the larger the organization.
Hmm.
So, how does one maintain the motivation, the desire to do good, do right, be better, whatever, in their specific role and within themselves, knowing full well sometimes it's the machine is running, right? And how do you stay motivated? And that's also again self-reflection of like how do you handle that knowing full well like again you only can control so much, right?
Yeah.
And typically it's your reaction to it.
Yes.
So I think for me, my takeaway on this conversation really ultimately is if you're going to go in for the big fight, like have faith in yourself to go for that big fight, but also understand the odds are high. Again, there's a lot of Goliath, situations here where it's like you gotta lick your wounds, and are you okay with it?
Yeah.
Or do you build up resentment towards it? And in that case, it might be a signal for you to probably look at alternative options for you because mm, it, it it may have that mental toll on you, right? Or
Yeah.
or maybe you're just not a good fit. Kids, sorry, you know?
Absolutely. But you also need to sit there and say, what's the personal win for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's the personal win in it for me? Was it I learned something? Was it I built another relationship? Was it my boss disagreed with this, but they respected how I articulated this and saw that I wasn't just another yes person, and that I was, that I was looking at how do I advance myself within a leadership position, or the fact that I didn't get fired when I put my neck on the line. We all need to sit there and say, what are the personal wins that we can come out with that make us a better person and enable us to live and fight another day?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we need to look at all of these things to sit there and say, you're not going to win every battle. It's not possible. No one wins every battle. And if you are winning every battle, you're probably a dictator.
A dictator.
Yeah, yeah, there's that too. But we need to sit there and say, okay, how do we learn to take our views, our ideas, our values, our purpose, meld it with other people's, and be able to create something that's larger and something that elevates and floats all boats. And I think that's the look in the mirror that I want to leave people with, is that it's not about a personal win. It's about how do we make a win that is going to affect clients. It's going to affect vendors. It's going to affect other departments. It's going to affect your boss. It's going to affect the people that work underneath you, and it's going to make the organization a better place. And I think that when we're looking in the mirror and we're sitting there and saying it's time to stand up and strap on, we need to sit there and say, why are we doing this? And how are we going to make this better for everybody and not just a win for me?
I can't. I mean, just don't. Yes. I can take. There's so many directions we could take this conversation, but yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. And it's at its root core, just don't be an a-hole. People, be a good person. Like, there's going to be battles that you're going to want to fight. That go for it, and there's going to be battles you don't want to fight. There's no shame in that. It's pick your battles. There's a reason why pick your battles makes sense for a lot of people, right? So yeah, I can't agree more.
Okay, so let's leave it there. I'm Ben,
See ya.
and we'll see you soon.
Hey, hey, hey. Thanks for listening to another episode of Not On This Business Bites. If you liked what you heard, we most humbly ask that you like, share, and hit that subscribe button. If you want to communicate more effectively within your organization, contact Ben at IamBenBaker.com or me at BrilliantBeeMedia.com. We can help you build your community, brand awareness, and personality through digital content and podcasting. We cannot wait to hear from you. See you next week for another episode of Not On This Business Bites.